And we are live. Good to see you guys. So I see, Planet X, Mike Richards, 47 Yorktown, Stan Lee, and Thomas Potts all in the chat. Anybody else that's lurking or anybody that comes in later, welcome. So we are currently on the Acolyte part 6, I want to say, and it's called what? Train/Corrupt. And it's kind of about what's the difference between the two. And so, Danny, Danny and I have no idea what we thought of this episode because, unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond our control, Danny wasn't able to do the watch along this week. So I have no idea what he thinks, whether he loved it or hated it or anything in between. So, Danny, what is your hot take on this week's episode?
I'm going to lose all my YouTube cred.
You have YouTube cred?
Not really.
Okay.
I started kind of arguing with Stanley in the chat about. I actually really, really like this show a lot, and I thought this episode was really good, and I kind of. We can talk about my personal issues later, but I kind of
that's not a subject for YouTube. You don't need to.
I'm feeling the Sith. I'm feeling it.
So first of all, I got to say, England DG, have not talked to you in forever. So good to see you, buddy. England DG, you may not know this, but he used to be a really big supporter of the channel, and then I'm assuming life did things and I lost track of you. But good to see you again, buddy. Hope you are doing well.
Right on.
I'll say this episode, well, definitely was this is not an action episode like the last one. So far, last episode is the only really action-centric episode. This one does kind of focus in on the whole motivation of the Jedi and the Sith in this whole thing. We still don't know what the deal is with the Jedi.
Right, yeah, and it was kind of beat up. Like, my only gripe about this show is that I'd prefer 4 hour-long episodes than 8 30-minute episodes.
I would agree. This felt like a half an episode.
Again.
And so I'm mixed on how I feel about the fact that this show, along with Andor and other stuff in modern Star Wars, is basically trying to make the Sith more sympathetic.
I mean, you know what? It's working on me.
I don't want to hear about how realistic that is. I don't want to hear about... Because, look, it's space wizards and laser swords. I'm not looking for realism.
I get it, but...
All right? I'm looking for fantasy. I don't...
The conversation he has with Osha hit... Like, I actually watched this episode 3 times.
Right,
I really, really like this episode.
But the problem is that I could understand why what he's saying would be effective on Osha. But what I don't want is for the show to be ambiguous about whether or not he's actually right. He needs to be shown that he is wrong. He is evil. And if they
whoa. Is he evil, though?
See, that's the problem. Yes, he's an effing dark side user. And I don't give a crap about you. Why semantics. No, that's what you are.
But, yeah... Wow. I wish we had watched this together. I think he's got me sold on the dark side. I don't know. Like, he's doing a more compelling job than Star Wars has ever done before.
But you see, that is what's wrong with not just Star Wars, but a lot of modern storytelling. We're trying to convince people that being bad isn't that bad.
Hold up.
And that's a bunch of BS.
No bad guy, and this has been said forever, no villain thinks they're the bad guy.
Yeah,
they
no
think
villain
they're
thinks
the hero.
They're the bad guy, but the show shows that, like, nobody thought Darth Vader was the hero. All right. Yes, he was redeemed in the very end, but nobody, and of course in Return of the Jedi, nobody thought the Emperor was the hero. Now the Emperor thought he was because he thought he was bringing peace and order to the galaxy. That it's just like Thanos. Thanos thought he was making it so that everybody could be happy by wiping out half of all people.
It was Thanos wrong?
Yes.
No, he wasn't.
He absolutely was, because in a generation or two, we'd be right back to the same population levels. And in fact, I was listening to one biologist talking about, because if he did wipe out half of all life, which is what it sounds like he did, not just humans, then what would initially happen is, because of a lack of predators, the prey species would multiply like crazy, and then once the prey species were dominating everywhere, the predator species would start multiplying like crazy. But then they'd hunt down the prey species, and the predator species would start dying out. It would be absolute chaos, what Thanos did. And so, now don't get me wrong, I like Thanos as a villain, but Thanos, of course, thinks he's the good guy. The Emperor, of course, thinks he's the good guy. But the story never tries to tell you that they really are the good guy. But Star Wars, in the last few years, is more and more trying to show you that the dark side is really not bad.
Says the guy who was lauding that Andor was proving that the Empire...
Yes, Andor proves that the Empire did nothing wrong, which is my point. You don't understand that. Okay, so what we're doing is, and I'm sorry, I'm going to go there. We are intentionally, knowingly using our media to convince people that not being good is perfectly acceptable.
Well, you know
and
what,
that's
man?
not okay. Why do you think society has fallen to shit? Sorry for using profanity, but why do you think that is? Do you think that just all of a sudden people were like, I guess we can just be worse now? And you know what? Because our storytelling has been reflecting this for a long time. And it's getting worse and worse. One of the things I loved about Star Wars when it first came out was...
Hold up. Where's Mr. Know-It-All? Why do we have his logo here? Where is he? What's going on?
Mr. Know-It-All, showing that he doesn't know it all, is out of town today. So Mr. Know-It-All isn't here.
Okay. My boss is calling.
Of course he is.
Sorry. Hold up.
All right. So while he's doing that, I'll read some of the chat and see... let's see. We'll start right about here. Okay, that's where England DG says, hasn't seen me in a long time. Thomas says the Jedi are corrupt. Well, that's kind of the idea that they're trying to do.
Well, hold up. So this kind of did piss me off. It seemed like Saul was about to tell us what's going on, and then the episode ends.
Well, that's the whole point. They want to put you in suspense.
Yeah.
Now,
they want me to come back next week, which is what TV shows are supposed to do.
Right. There are a couple of ideas that I have going through my head right now. One of which is that Saul is the one who trained Darth Methhead. That Saul not only was his Jedi master, but is in fact a dark side user.
I don't know. Like Saul was like, it was a long time ago. So I don't.
No, you mean Darth Methhead said that?
Yeah. Sorry, that guy. I don't remember his real name, but I actually really...
Darth Venom. His mask looks like Venom. So
I really like this kid. Like this episode, and you got to understand, I've been going through some stuff personally, so this episode really spoke. There's a reason I watched it as much as I did. I really liked the episode, and I kind of...
But you see, the problem is...
He's selling me on the dark side.
Right, but that's the problem. You see, that you are a perfect example of why it's bad. Because... and I'm being absolutely serious here, because you and I were talking about some stuff where you're questioning certain things as far as morality and stuff like that. And the show here is basically saying, yeah, Danny, you know what? It's okay if you want to, just break the rules a little bit. It's not that big a deal. It's all good. it's all justified because
Dude, no.
you
He's
know,
talking about embracing fear, anger.
yeah. Why the hell would you embrace those things?
Because they're don't make me quote.
And
Don't
thank you,
make me quote Captain Kirk
no,
from Star Trek V.
Creep sums it up right here, and that is 100% true. Is that you make evil sound so sweet that you're willing to go, yeah, I can see that. And I'm sorry, but the idea of, oh yeah, just embrace your fear, embrace your anger, all that stuff.
I don't want my pain taken away. I need my pain.
Oh, shut up about that. That's not what we're talking about. I'm not talking about the scars that one gets from going through life. I'm talking about the fact that the whole idea of the Sith is that they and he even tried to, he was being very slimy and subtle about how he was doing it.
Whoa.
The Jedi.
Well, how is he? Oh.
And Palpatine with a $1 super chat says, "Yes, Danny, join us. We have great cookies."
I mean, I'm not a cookie fan, but whatever.
Well, I guess Palpatine will throw you into the pit of doom then.
Yeah.
No, but and England DG says, "I disagree. You're talking about those scars and pain." I'm not sure exactly what you mean there.
Look,
England.
Because he says, the whole thing is kind of almost what Yoda said, but he's saying it from the villainous point of view.
Right.
And she's like, you're talking about the dark side. And he's like, semantics. And he's right. He's not wrong, dude.
Yes, he is.
He's not wrong.
Oh my gosh, you're being an idiot right now. He is absolutely. The whole point of what he's doing is exactly what the Emperor was doing to Luke in Return of the Jedi. He's attempting to seduce her to the dark side.
This is a dude that's clearly, we don't know the whole story yet, clearly been hurt, clearly has a reason for choosing the path he's on. And I'm actually, I want to know.
I'm not saying his story.
Fuck everybody that says this show sucks. This is a really good show. I'm invested. I want to know what his motivation is. I want to know why he feels. I want to know what happened.
Right.
I want to know what happened.
I get that. And and as far as that's concerned, I'm with you. I like the show overall. I think it's a decent show. I do not like the underlying message that it seems to be giving right now, which is that good is evil and evil is good.
How is that the message? That's not the message.
You were just saying. Well, I can really feel that.
No,
and I'm really
look
with
at the green chick. The green chick.
Yeah,
dude, she's up to no good. She's up to no good. I don't care what anybody. She's not. She's not on the up and up.
You don't know that. I mean, granted, I gave forth the theory that she's actually the Sith Lord.
I don't think she's the Sith Lord, but she's not, a virtuous, righteous Jedi. I mean, like, there's something with her. You know what I mean? There's something going on there. And Soul was about to. I don't think it's a really good show. I think it's a crappy show. Okay. Well, hey, man, England, that's your opinion, and I welcome it. I'm just so sick and tired of all of the hate online. It's like they're just hating on this show to hate on it, and there's some good shit in here. There really is.
I'm not saying there's not some good stuff in the show.
She didn't use the whip on Darth Meth Head. She used the whip on a moth, but that was cool.
No, I think he's suggesting.
Purple.
No, he's suggesting that's where Meth Head got his scars.
Okay.
And hey, Captain Foley says it's salty and he didn't want to come to see me at WonderFits. You know what happened, dude. You know exactly what happened. So I really wanted to come, dude. I swear I'm going to find a way to make it next year.
What's this Wonderfest? Where was it?
It's a con. It's a small scale con that's held up in Kentucky every year, and Foley always goes to it. So it is within driving distance for me, but sadly, I was unable to attend, and because I was sick, and so
sick. Like I was sick yesterday, or actually
No, I
sick?
wasn't pretend sick. I was actually sick.
I mean, I wasn't pretend sick either. It's all a matter of perspective.
Yeah, you seem like you're really on your deathbed. Anyway, the
More than you know, actually.
anyway, the whole point of this series is to show how the dark, at least so far, it depends on. I mean, they could stick the landing and wow me, they really can. But right now, I'm absolutely convinced that the whole point of the show is to turn good and evil on their head, which they've already tried to do with Andor. And to some degree of success, I think, because Andor does make out that the Empire was forced into becoming the totalitarian society they were. And now Danny's on the phone with somebody.
All right, man. All right, bye. Sorry about that. That was my roommate. You didn't hear him? He said, "Hey" to everybody.
No, we couldn't.
Super chat.
And Palpatine says, I also don't like green people. Well, my little green friend. See,
Oh, look at this, Captain Foley. All right, right on. Yeah. So I would we ought to have him on, since Mr. Know-It-All.
you just want to have him on because he liked the last
Well, no,
episode.
I want to know why. Because
I do
really,
too. I do
this
think
last
that-
episode is my favorite episode. Even though the last two episodes
I
should have
think
been
last week's episode was my favorite episode. I really like the fight. This one, I think, does add a little bit of, I wonder what's going on to it. But it's really, this episode is so dependent on whatever comes next. Because, what has Green Chick, Green Chick, obviously very, very smart, and obviously very skilled with her lightsaber whip device, which I'm kind of pissed off.
and she's really in tune with the Force. I mean, that was clearly like she felt the thing coming with the Force. You know what I
Right.
mean? But I think she's got a little dark side in her. I really do. I think we're gonna.
Well, I
find out.
suggested that a couple of weeks ago that she was actually a Sith Lord.
I don't think she's a
However, and that's-
Sith. I think she's dabbled
I
in the dark
understand,
side.
but dude, you see, that's the problem. That's not how Star Wars works. Okay, you don't dabble in the dark side. And Star Wars, and this is one of my core problems with modern Star Wars, and why I think it has nothing to do with gender or messaging or any of that crap that people complain about. My big problem with modern Star Wars is they've tried to turn it all into shades of gray. It's not light and dark. It's mostly light or mostly dark, or maybe you're kind of in the middle and you can use both.
Other than
It's-
our political
no.
system, life is not binary. It's not ones and zeros.
Yes, but Star Wars is. That's the whole point. Star Wars is heroes and villains. It's good and evil. I understand that in the real world, people, like you have nice people that stab you in the back and you have jerks that'll do you a favor. I get that. But this is not the real world. Again, this is space wizards and laser swords. I don't want realism. I want Star Wars, and Star Wars is not shades of freaking gray. Star Wars is you're
Man, you
either
gotta-
light or you're dark.
you gotta
Did
get
you
over
not watch the original movies?
You got to get over that, man. You got to get over that.
I'm not going to get over that because that's the core of, and the problem is that fantasy storytelling, which Star Wars certainly is, do you even want to watch Lord of the Rings where all of a sudden you have the troubled good orcs?
Well, first of all,
no,
I
that's
don't
going to be
like.
stupid.
I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan.
Well,
so it's not
yes,
a good
but it's the
example.
same freaking, Sauron, yes, he's a big glowing fireball on a tower, but he's really just misunderstood. He's just trying to help people.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
But you're right. You're right. Star Wars was always like good
Thomas, you know what? Shut up. We saw the people on that Death Star. They were all wearing, 1940s German uniforms and stormtrooper armor. So I don't think that there were any innocent employees there. But yeah, and I Stan, you know what? I don't think Rings of Power has tried to do that, at least not yet. You can argue about whether or not it's good or not, but I don't think they've tried to make the orcs good and the elves and humans evil. The only thing you can say is, they've added some depth to some of the character. What are you doing? This is not the time to be jacking around with that stuff.
Sorry.
So I'm sorry. I don't want my good guys to be troubled and confused, and I don't want my bad guys to actually be kind of right about everything.
I'm curious. Let's look. Since I put the Criticalist thing up, I bet you it's still doing really crappy on Criticalist.
Well, of course, because the problem is that most people, they take one glance at the show and they think it's woke. Especially considering that the two female protagonists
31 votes, it's sitting at 12% heinous on Criticalist.
Right. That doesn't surprise me at all, because the Criticalist crowd is mostly people that would agree with like the Phantom Menace type of perspective. And that type of perspective on this show is that it's bad because it has female protagonists and lesbians in it. And so that in and of itself makes it bad.
I actually thought we were going to get a dick shot in this episode, but we didn't. Well,
were you looking forward to that or something? You sound
no. I just thought it would have been, funny, for all those haters out there. It's like,
why would that be?
It's all lesbians and blah blah blah, and then we get, anyway.
I don't even understand why you think that would be funny. If anything, that would just help prove the point of the haters, because they would say, oh, okay, so they're objectifying men now. Because you don't see any naked women walking around, and that's the kind of the funny thing is that, when you get to the wokeness stuff, it is now taboo to objectify women, but you can do it to men all day long.
Hey, Chief, no, I didn't. Where'd you send it?
He just posted it on a YouTube video for everybody to see.
Oh, that's not good, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. But no, I didn't get anything from you on Twitter, DMs, nor did I get anything. I got an email from Creep, and I replied to it telling him to send me his mailing address, but I didn't get anything from you, Chief. So just, anyway.
All right, so our episode begins with Osha waking up in the cave where Darth Methhead lives. And by the way, it looks like she's been working out here. I mean, she's got some guns going on for such a small frame. But what do you mean, Look at that.
Not really.
Okay, whatever, dude. So she looks around and she finds a drink. She sees a little elephant porg, which, these things, whatever. But, I mean, granted, that's typical Star Wars crap, where you put some cute thing in so you can sell toys if you... I'm waiting for the elephant porg toy to come out. Anyway, so then she digs around. She finds May's knife and some clothes to put on, so she decides to go for a walk and sees that she's on an island that looks suspiciously like Octu.
Is this, I was about to say, is this the island Luke was on?
Well, that's Octu. But
it kind of looks like it a little bit.
I don't think it's the same island, but it could certainly be on the same planet.
Yeah. Okay.
And but it does look an awful lot like Octu. They just say unknown planet in the show, so that's all we have canonically. But unknown planet could well be Octu, because Octu was an unknown planet until Rise of Skywalker, or not Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi. Anyway, so then we get our little thing. Yeah, see right here is unknown planet. Yeah. Now, one of the dumbest things in this episode to me is a line that Darth Methhead says pretty early on here. So you see this establishing shot, right? So there's the beach in the foreground. And
Or are you
then
talking about the line where he's like, if you start swimming now, you might make it by...
you might make it by sundown.
Yeah.
It's like it's a 30-second swim.
I mean,
No,
you're
to get to the
exaggerating,
closest
but,
to get to the closest rocks, if you're in good physical shape, you could make that swim in less than a minute.
All right.
Look how close it is.
I mean, it is close.
It's like maybe 100 or 200 feet.
It's a couple football fields.
That is no way. Look, that is in no way a football field would get you
That's
all
at
the way.
least one football field.
No, a football field. Okay, I would say this. Probably a football field would be from the big rock that's sitting on the beach to the ship.
Okay.
So that means to get to actual land right now would be half a football field, which a football field is 100 yards. I said 100, 200 feet. That 100 yards, 50 yards would be 150 feet.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Yeah,
And-
when he said that, I did think it would be further away, and then right after he says it, they
like
showed
if it was the island that you see way back there obscured by the clouds, if that's where the ship was, okay. You know,
Well,
but,
okay. Well, hey, England says a 100-yard average swim is about 30 minutes.
well, if you're like just floating, sure. I'm sorry. Look, I am in the worst shape I've been in my life, and I could swim 100 yards in probably 4 or 5 minutes.
I'm not going to make that claim.
Yeah. And you're right, Planet X, and a lot of that water is shut. Like, you could walk halfway there. You know, because everywhere, and like when you look around the rocks and you see the white caps there, you could probably stand up there. So,
Yeah.
you know, anyway, that's just a really dumb line. So then we have some more elephant porgs, because why not? We got to throw them in every shot we can.
You know what's funny is I didn't even notice those little things.
Yeah. Well, that's because you were too busy thinking about how awesome the dark side is. Anyway, so we go back to Kofar, and we see that Saul is having trouble connecting with the Jedi Temple back on Coruscant because they're having trouble with their comms, which is interesting. I wonder if all the communications trouble is going to lead to avoiding canonical issues with the Sith. Because
I think it's going to have something to do with the green girl, like.
Well, no. Think about this. If, let's say, Saul is actually evil, or
I don't know, Saul's not
or
evil.
converts or dies. There's one of those three possibilities, right? If Saul is actually the mastermind behind it all, or if
Saul is a I don't see
hold
that
on,
at all.
hold on. Let me finish. All right. So if Saul is actually evil right now, or he becomes evil by the end of the series, or he ends up dead. Right now, Saul is the only Jedi alive that knows there's a Sith.
Yeah.
So they have canonical issues well under control right now. Mm-hmm. Because if one of those things happens and like Green Chick doesn't find out there's a Sith, or she's behind it all, you know, then and then all the other Jedi with her end up dead, you know, which, come on, they're all cannon fodder, we know. Mm-hmm. All the Jedi with Green Chick are going to end up dead.
Probably.
You know, either by her own hand or by the hands of Darth Methhead.
You know what they're calling him in the toy line is Stranger. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, probably because they didn't want to call the toy as Sith, because then people would go crazy.
Yeah.
And they were just saying, so an Olympic swimming pool is 50 feet long, or 50 meters long, so 2 laps would be a full football field in length, which would be way more than enough to get to that ship. Anyway, so he's having trouble. And meanwhile, May is sneaking around on the ship, just kind of seeing. And Danny is still there, sniffing around like Danny likes to do. If there's one thing Danny likes to do, it's sniff women and hump their legs, we'll find out later. So she's trying to sneak up on Saul because she's got a knife and she's going to kill him. But then he senses her presence but doesn't realize who she is. And,
Well, I was going to ask you, when do you think he figures out it's May? Do you think he knew the whole time?
that's what you see, that's part of that depends on what, we need to know more about Saul. But if Saul is either evil,
He's not evil, dude. There's no way. I'll die on that hill. There's no way he's evil.
I wouldn't put it past him. I think he would make a great mastermind. Because notice, like, the way he was like, we need to find your master right away.
He is torn. He is just so distraught. Like, he's not. Nothing about this guy seems like a villain to me. He is.
Of course not. You know what? If you had seen the prequels and never seen the original movies, you would think that Senator Palpatine was a nice guy, just a kindly old man. So yeah, just because he's a nice guy doesn't mean he's not the mastermind behind it all.
All right, man. I'm actually surprised to hear this take because you were such a Saul fan.
I love the cat. Look, I think that the guy that's playing him, I can never remember his name, but the Korean actor there, I think he's knocking it out of the park. I love every time he's on screen. I think that he adds to this show.
Look at what Thomas is saying. I 100% agree. That shit hit him hard. I don't think he's a bad guy at all.
And Will Wheaton is in the house saying that Palpatine did nothing wrong.
God.
Or I'm sorry, it's Wheat Thin. I keep forgetting. It's Wheat Thin. Today.
Welcome back.
Yeah,
welcome
there you
back.
go. I got a box of you right here.
Oh my God.
All right, so. But the thing is
so Dow says
he
knew when he recognized Pip was set to factory reset, which is funny because that's like made me think of an iPhone.
Dow, I'm thinking that I'm thinking he knew all along.
I kind of do too.
I think that he absolutely knows that because you're telling me that he senses her presence but doesn't realize that's not his former Padawan.
Yeah, there's no way, in my opinion. Like, he had to know that was May from Jump Street. Like, he had to know.
And so I think that he's known all along, and he's seeing this as a new opportunity.
Guys, who gives a shit about the swimming? Can we get over it, please? Stop talking about it in the chat.
So I think he's testing her. I think he's trying to see where she's at with everything.
Yeah.
He knows she's got skill, but I think he's testing her resolve and her character. Because notice when he had her strapped down, she's like, "Let me out." He's like, "I will, but first we're going to talk." And then, of course, we don't know.
Oh, and that shit pissed me off. Yeah. And then it's like nothing. I was like, man. And what's up with these? Like, it says it's a 39-minute episode, but like it ends at like 32 minutes.
Right, because
so
they have all
7
those
or
credits.
8 minutes of credits.
Because they have credits in every conceivable language that you could stream it on.
Ridiculous.
So I think that, but if he does know, if he's known all along, and if he has, here's my kind of, I know this is an out there theory, but kind of where I'm going with this. Saul, Master Jedi, and notice the other Jedi immediately thought that Saul could overpower a dozen Jedi.
Dude, I thought it was effed up. That kid immediately thought.
No. But think about this: if let's say something like this happens, not in this era, but in the prequel era, right? So a bunch of Jedi go out and they all get absolutely slaughtered, and the one survivor was Mace Windu.
Why? Because he's black? Is that where you're going with that?
No, because Mace Windu was known to be the most badass fighter of all the Jedi.
Okay.
And so if Mace Windu was the sole survivor, and then not only that, he he mysteriously loses contact and then disappears without a trace. And it's like, well, you know that Saul is one of the few Jedi that's powerful enough to completely overwhelm a group of Jedi. And so why not suspect him? And
He's the only one that didn't get killed.
and the Jedi are supposed to be dispassionate and logical. And that is a logical thought.
Yeah.
Yes, and thank you, Stan. There's the line from the prequels. As wise as Master Yoda and as powerful as Master Windu. Nothing to do with his skin color. But if Saul is like the predecessor to Mace Windu, where he is the one that everybody knows is just the most powerful of the Jedi, and he goes on a mission with a half a dozen Jedi, and all the other Jedi end up dead, and then Saul mysteriously has communications issues and then disappears. Yeah.
Well, I did think it was a little suspect. I will say at the end when they fixed the communication issues, he shut it off. That was a little sus.
That's what I'm saying. I think that Saul trained Darth Meth Head.
Why? He didn't. There wasn't any kind of recognition earlier in their fight. It wasn't like,
Remember, she even said, well, I've never heard of you. And he said it was a long time ago. Well, if that's not what he looked like when he was trained? What if he's doing something to either regenerate himself or if he has somehow used the Force to possess another body?
Stan, he says, yes, there was. Tell me. Because
there was what?
I said that there wasn't any kind of moment where Saul recognized him. And I think that's what Stan's referring to. Like, yes.
No, Jorg recognized him. But I don't think Saul did.
Yeah.
But
let us know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. Meth Head did suggest that he should recognize him. He did, yeah. But
he didn't.
Right.
Was the thing.
But if he is somehow, if he's possessed another body or something like that, like what if he's Plagueis and he's used his abilities to move into another body, or what if Saul is Plagueis and he created Meth Head? I think either one of those is an interesting possibility.
I don't know, man. I like Saul. I don't know. I don't. Saul's a good guy. I don't. As much as I'm down with the Sith, I don't think he's. I don't think.
Right. So then he's a bad guy because he's a Jedi. In order for him to be a good guy, he'd have to be a Sith.
All right.
And exactly, Stan, that's what I'm saying. Maybe he's kind of sort of reincarnated, and so I think that there is, and he seemed very concerned when talking to May about finding Meth Head. And it would make sense if Saul was just being an honorable Jedi trying to avenge the loss of all those other Jedi. Why wouldn't he wait for green light whip snake chick to show up with her reinforcements? Why did he run off with her? Unless he is actually, now he's kind of forced to do his power move when he didn't want to.
Damn, England. I mean, welcome back, apparently. I never met you before, but the show is not awful. Come on, man. Like, it's not awful.
There would be something where the Horn Mama tried to destroy them all out of anger or some nonsense, and the Jedi were trying to save them. They all died. Well, yeah, we still haven't seen the flashback as to what actually happened. But that's why I'm saying, like, they could, depending on, I don't know how ballsy the writing's going to get here, because it has not been nearly as bad as I was expecting based on what I saw of the showrunner. And so what I think like a ballsy move would be is to show Saul slaughtering the witches.
Oh man, I don't know about that.
What if Saul and Trinity and the four of them? What if they were a cabal of Sith?
Nah, I don't say that.
And in fact, think about this. So, if these four were Sith working within the Jedi Order, or something like Sith, and what is it that that Meth had said in this one? What he wants? The power of two.
Yeah, going back to he's already said that in the previous. He wants
No, in the previous one, he just said he wants a pupil.
He wants a
In
pupil,
this one,
yeah.
he says he wants the power of two. And keep in mind that in Star Wars lore, there's this whole thing with the rule of two with the Sith, which was, just basically a play on when Yoda would say there's always two. Yeah. And so what if, in fact, his problem, he was trained by this cabal of Sith working within the Jedi, but because there was more than two, their force powers were diluted, and so he's like, we need to get rid of all these people.
Yeah, I'm not following you there, man.
I think that is a possibility. Because one thing, I think the reason that a single Sith can overpower a whole group of Jedi is because the light side of the Force, and at least this is kind of how it was set up initially, but then, people forgot about it. The light side of the Force is divided among all the Jedi. The dark side of the Force is divided among all the Sith. So if you have 1,000 Jedi and 2 Sith, the Sith are going to be 500 times more powerful than a typical Jedi. However, if you took all the Jedi and all the Sith combined, the power would be equal.
No, well, we talked about this last week. The Sith don't play by rules. That's really what it's kind of. I know you're
they
not
absolutely do play by rules.
I know
they
you're
just
not
play
in,
by different.
I know you're not into Dragon Ball Z, but the problem, like Goku.
Yeah, don't use an example I can't understand.
All right. Well, never mind then. I can't think of another. Basically, you can be like, okay, Superman. Here we go. Superman's morality holds him back. You know what I mean? Because he wants to be a good guy through and through. Doesn't want to kill. He's like the he wants the moral high ground. Mm-hmm. So he fights by a certain set of self-imposed rules, whereas his villains don't. It's the same with the Sith and the
villains
Jedi.
should never fight by the rules, so to speak. But think about this. So and I do, England. I agree with some of what you're saying here, but he says that I think it's more that he wants to be able to use the Force as he sees fits, and is tired of the rules, which was not laid out in the show very well. Well, I disagree with you. I think it was laid out in the show that he. But and then you say, but that you can't use the Force unless you're a Jedi. That's what the Jedi are teaching, right?
Yeah, he even makes it a point to say that like the Jedi teach you that if you don't use it, you lose it, which he says is BS. You know what I mean?
Well, it is and it isn't. That's the interesting thing, is that when the Jedi train to use the Force a very different way than the Sith, right? The Sith do it through your emotions, and the Jedi use it through intellect. And so if you're not exercising your intellect and meditating and practicing, you will lose that ability, whereas you always have your base emotions. And that's why Yoda said that the dark side is quicker and easier than the light. And so with the light side of the Force, you have to constantly study and train in order to maintain your power. With the dark side, you just have to be emotional. Like, you would make a great dark side user because you're an emotional wreck. And so you'd cry and lightning bolts would shoot everywhere. That's...
I mean, maybe that's why I like this episode so much. You're not wrong. Yeah.
It's a great way to do it. All right, so anyway, so he tells May, although he says Osha, to take control while he tries to figure out what's wrong with the comm system, and then
And he shows a little uncharacteristic Jedi traits here. He shows like some frustration. He hits
well, that's one of the reasons that I think that he may not be truly a Jedi.
No, look at man. This guy's such a good actor. Look at his eyes, just in this freeze frame you have. This dude is such a good actor, and I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's torn. I think he's a good guy who's torn.
But
by
you know what?
Something difficult he
if
had
you're
to deal
using,
with.
I mean, he also yells and hits the table in this scene.
Yeah.
Something a Jedi would never do.
Yeah.
All right. And this guy is not just any Jedi, he is a master. And he's a master that is known as one of the most powerful Jedi around. Why is he so powerful? Maybe it's because he's tapping into the dark side.
Maybe, but I don't think he's a Sith. I don't think he's a secret Sith like you're suggesting. I don't.
Like Secret Santa, Secret Sith. I think it's a possibility. I think that would actually be interesting.
He is easily the best character in this show.
Well, duh.
Yeah.
All right, so then Danny is running around sniffing some more because that's what he does. And he sniffs around and plugs in the robot in the USB charger because why not? And so meanwhile, so Osha is now spying on Darth Methhead, who strips naked and goes for a swim. And
I did find it somewhat interesting where he was like, if you're not going to join me, like, was that almost a sexual overture? Like,
I don't think so. I think he was I think he was just saying that, you know what, if you want to swim with me, fine. Otherwise, I'm going to come out and put my clothes on.
Okay. All right.
I don't think there was anything sexual there.
Okay.
And he critiques her stance a little bit here.
I actually did like that. He's like, you need to hold your elbow
right,
up a
because
higher.
he's trying to establish himself as her new master.
Yeah.
And so if you immediately just start giving instructions, she's already thinking of him as a teacher.
I hate that there's only like 2 episodes left, because I think this is where it's starting to get interesting to me. If he can turn her, Osha, to the dark side, when we've been following her the whole time as like a light side user or whatever you want to call it, I think that's a really compelling story, but I don't think they have enough time in 2 more episodes to do that.
Well, you're assuming it's only going to be 1 season as well.
Well, all the fucking hate out there because of the fandom menace, I don't think they're going to get a 2nd season, even if they
maybe not, but we'll see.
And it sucks because I actually really do like this show. I don't care how unpopular that opinion is. I really like this show.
Again, I don't think it's the worst thing Star Wars has come out with in recent years. I think
this is better than all 3 of the sequel movies, in my opinion.
Well, I would say...
This is way better than Kenobi, which I couldn't even finish watching.
Well, you see, that's where you're just stupid. You still haven't watched the last episode of Kenobi. So
I know. Well, Thomas sent me a link. I haven't watched it yet, Thomas. I will watch it. Thank you for sending it to me. I just haven't.
Yeah, and by he will watch it means he's never going to watch it.
No, that's not, I will watch it. Look, I've had a lot going on the last few days, man.
And Stan, no, the Phantom Menace, the funny thing about the Phantom Menace, here's what we don't know, and this is the honest truth. We don't know how many people are actually watching this show. We have no idea. Yeah. Everybody pretends that they know. You have these people that say, oh, yeah, we know, we have these algorithms that have figured it out.
Well, supposedly, Disney said this was the most watched premiere they ever had, which is probably not true.
Disney's just...
Yeah.
Disney's just gonna, and yes, Stanley, I agree. The Kenobi duel was better than the forest fight in this show.
Oh wow! Okay, I might have to watch it now because the forest fight was badass. This was the coolest.
I've been telling you
this was the coolest lightsaber duel. Last episode was the coolest lightsaber duel.
I've been trying to tell you for a year that we finally got Obi-Wan Kenobi cut and loose the way a Jedi Master should. and you just wouldn't listen. You did. No, the show sucks.
It did. It was horseshit. It was terrible.
You didn't finish watching it. Look at this show. This show is just getting interesting, and it's in episode 6. All right, when Kenobi gets interesting is when Kenobi and Vader finally face off. And yet you're just sitting there poo-pooing it when you wouldn't watch it all the way.
All right,
through.
hold up. You know what? I'm gonna pull up this link. Let me see how long it is.
You don't need to.
No, the one Thomas sent me. Let me see how long it is.
And if that's just the fight, I mean, it's good, but it'll be out of context.
Yeah, I'm not going back to watch the show. I'm just not.
Yeah, of course not, because, you don't want to have to admit that I was right.
All right. Let's see. Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Vader full fight scene, part 6, final episode. All right. It's 9.5 minutes. You want me to watch it real quick and check back in with you in 9.5 minutes? I'll do it.
Well, why don't you just watch it and you can describe what's going on and tell everybody how boring it is.
All right, so we got Darth Vader coming out of a ship.
I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. I wonder if...
No, he hasn't said anything yet.
Let's see...
Still no dialogue. Have you come to destroy me, Obi-Wan? That's his first line. Ooh, I will do what I must. And then he ignites first. Then you will die.
Yeah, I agree, Thomas. I don't know how, but you know what it is that those videos are not monetized. So, and I do like that Obi-Wan uses his classic stance from his duel with General Grievous.
Well, oh man, they're using the fat lightsabers in this show.
Dude, just get over it. You like the lightsaber duel in the Forest, so shut up about the fat lightsabers. That's just how they do it now, okay? Get over it. That's just what lightsabers look like now.
I mean, 2 minutes in, I'm not really impressed yet.
Of course not. You're not telling me what's going on, so I don't know where you are in the fight.
Well, they're both Force. Like Obi-Wan tried to push a rock on him. Vader pushed it away. Vader's been fighting with one hand this whole time, by the way.
Yeah, well, Vader is physically much stronger than Obi-Wan. Well, you must have liked something.
Oh, Vader used the Force to...
To what?
And that is why you will always lose.
Was he putting him in the pit?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening. Oh, now he's burying him with rocks.
Yeah. Doesn't look good for our hero.
Oh, are you watching? You're watching it too. Okay.
I'm trying to stay approximately where you are, but you're not talking much.
Well, it looks like you have failed, Master. And he's walking off. So it looks like he's beat Obi-Wan, buried him with rubble, and now he's walking off. I'm like 3.5 minutes in. Now I'm 4 minutes in. Nothing's happened. This is not
Well,
good
I
television.
can't. Nothing's happened. So they just was a blank screen.
No, I mean it's still okay. Oh, okay. Now we see Obi-Wan under the rubble, apparently using the Force to keep himself from getting squished.
You're right.
Now he's hearing a bunch of voices. Oh, now we're seeing little Leia, which is, oh my god!
You don't,
this
don't
whole
bitch about,
show is
shut up,
canon break.
shut
People
up
want to bitch
dude,
about the Acolyte.
Dude, shut up and just watch it.
All right.
You don't have to go on a tirade about how much you hate Leia. And England, you know what? I know I'm one of the few people that actually enjoyed the Obi-Wan show. You want to talk, or are you just going to sit there and be silent?
Oh man. So okay, hold up. I gotta pause it. I do love Ewan McGregor and how he does the fucking twirly behind the back thing he just did. Like that's straight out of Revenge of the Sith. That was dope. I do like that move. Ooh, that was cool.
That was cool. I don't know what that is.
So he just force push Vader like way back. Oh no! Oh wow! Now he's lifting up a bunch of rocks.
There we go. Yep.
Okay, and he's showering Vader with a bunch of rocks. Damn, man, he is good with that. I just want to see him do lightsaber duels from now on.
And you're watching it completely out of context.
You sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger right there. That's funny. Ooh, he cut Vader's back. Oh, shit. He just sliced his head.
Yeah. That's how Vader got that big old gash in his head that we see in Return of the Jedi.
Are they going to show me what happened here? Like they cut away. He's wheezing. See, this is what's wrong with Jedi. Go for the death blow. Oh, wow. Okay. That's a cool shot. You could see, like, he called a mannequin. You can see, like, half of his face.
Yes, cool. I know.
Anakin's gone. Oh, I like how they did the little voice thing there. That's cool.
Oh, where it's like half.
Oh, Obi-Wan. Man, he's going to make me cry. He's such a good actor. Shitty show. Good actor. I'm sorry.
Notice what he calls him at the end of the fight, if they have it in there.
Sorry for all of it. Oh, man, he's good. Oh. I'm not your failure.
And well, Wheaton, I understand what you're saying as far as the Ahsoka Vader fight from Clone Wars. This isn't a freaking kids show, and it's not a cartoon. And I think it was a lot cooler.
And my friend is truly dead.
And then what does he call him?
He says goodbye, Darth, and he just walks off.
Right. But remember, if you in Star Wars, when he first meets Vader, he refers to him as Darth.
Yeah.
So that's the origin of him saying that. Now, I understand that you hate the show, but it culminated in an epic lightsaber fight.
Okay, so I just finished it. No, the lightsaber duel in the last episode of The Acolyte was way more badass.
Yeah,
I mean, that was all right, but
You're
I mean,
stupid.
that was cool, but you know, and Ewan is really good actor. It just, that show is so fucking terrible, man. Jesus. But you know, okay. Thanks, Thomas. I watched it,
Right.
and you saw me tear up a little bit. So it was, you know, it was good acting. You know.
And England says, I disagree. The best death in all Star Wars was from a cartoon, mediocre cartoon, and it was Obi-Wan killing Maul. That was a great scene. But,
Thanks
you
to
know,
Jason, our former co-host, I actually did get to, he sent me that. I watched that clip. They were at like a campfire.
Yeah. That is a great scene, but the thing is that, you know what that was? That was an animatic for what should be a live-action scene with Ewan McGregor and Ray Park. That's what that was. You know, don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing the Clone Wars and Rebels and all that. They're great little cartoons for what they are, but the animation style sucks.
Look at this pause you have.
Yes,
that lightsaber looks fake as fuck. I hate the new lightsabers.
Get over it. You know, I know you've said that about 8,000 times.
But look how fake it looks. It looks like a toy. It looks like what I have downstairs.
You know what? Honestly, it didn't bother me like it bothers you for some reason. And in fact, the funny thing is that this is one of those shots where it looks a little bit better. If you'll notice that if you're playing it, the edges of the lightsaber are actually vibrating a little bit like they should.
Yeah.
So there is some digital work going on here. It's not just a freaking toy, as you seem to think. The actual practical lit blade makes it so that the lighting for the shot is much better. Because you can see the red glow.
There are no quote unquote real lightsabers, but yes, this is basically like like I can go, you know what? I'm gonna go grab my lightsaber. I'll be right back.
You don't no, Danny, don't waste your time. It's yes, you can make a practical lightsaber that on camera looks very much like the real thing. And that does make filming a lot easier, especially the lighting part of it. And that's something that I think Danny is missing the point on, is that if you look at the lightsaber, the lightsabers that he's claiming don't look fake, had no glow to them. Like, if you look at the fight between Vader and Luke in Jedi, it was a great fight, but why is it that they weren't bathed in green and red light, respectively? Because there was no light on screen or on camera. And see, now Danny's like hunting around for his lightsaber or something that nobody cares about. There we go. He's fine.
And yes, before you guys give me grief, I've always had a thing for bad guys. Megatron, Darth Vader.
You know,
that's what it looks like.
It looks like
it looks like a freaking toy.
Dude,
this is exactly what they're using. It's here.
It's not exactly what they're using, but they are using a lit up blade. But so what? And hey, Ariel, good to see you. Dude, and this is what I think is hilarious. You think the practical lightsabers look fake, but when the lightsabers don't actually cast any light on anybody, you think it looks better. Even though those lightsabers absolutely look fake to me because of the lighting.
Maybe it's just because I've watched it for 30, 40 years before they started using these toys. I don't know, but like, I don't know.
Stop referring to them as toys.
The blade is way too fat. It's just way too fat.
What do you want? Clone Wars freaking lightsabers? I don't understand Why you think like that blade looks like it's like maybe
Dude, England is saying that's not what they're using, bro. That's exactly what they're
England
using.
is right. That's not what they're using. Yours would shatter if you tried to use it the way they do on these shows.
First of all, I actually used to be in a group where we did. I'm actually pretty good with this thing.
Yeah,
Hold up.
look, you can, dude. You don't. You really have no clue what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
If you're using a prop lightsaber. Versus a toy lightsaber. The toy lightsaber, if I took a good swing at it with some serious force behind it, it would break the lights in the blade and it would break the blade itself.
No, no. I actually have cracks. Hold up, because I've done some shit. Look, so I don't know if you can see it. I have a crack right here. I don't think. Hold up, let me turn it off. I have a crack.
I can't see the crack. It just looks like you're holding a fluorescent light bulb.
Right there.
Yeah, we can't see the crack.
Okay. Because I've done, dude. I can. Hold up. Try not to.
Now watch, he breaks it.
Yeah. Hold up. Whoops.
Yeah, that's not proving how strong it is. That's just you pretending to twirl it.
Oh shit. Anyway, dude, no. I've had some real like epic fights with this thing.
Dude, have you actually swung with it with real fighting force against somebody else who was swinging with real fighting force? The answer is no. Because you didn't want to break your expensive toy.
The answer is yes. That's how this happened, which you can't see.
You actually swung it like you were trying to kill somebody with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. In front of a bonfire. So when I lived in Texas,
unless you were drunk, I absolutely don't believe you.
I wasn't drunk. I was actually.
Then I don't believe you.
My son and I
then
were having an epic lightsaber duel in front of a bonfire, and I had my pickup truck, and we were blaring the Duel of the Fates music and just going at it ham, dude.
Still, you're going on this whole thing that makes no sense because, look, there's nothing wrong with them using practical lightsabers, and in fact, that helps make it look more realistic. I know that you don't like it because it looks a little different than I'm used to with the computer-generated one.
It looks like a toy. It looks like a toy. Like this frame, this pause you have right here, it looks like a toy.
Dude.
It looks like this lightsaber.
You're psyching yourself out to think that because there's nothing about this shot that makes it look like a toy, except for the fact that you want it to. Because I already showed you how if you hit play, you can see the edges of the blade are vibrating.
No, I do
because it's digital.
Well, right? No, they enhance it.
Yes, they enhance it digitally. Of course, they enhanced it.
I have a program I can do the same thing.
No, this is not After Effects here, dude. I'm sorry. I know how you make lightsaber blades in After Effects, and this ain't it.
All right. In England, thank you. My son and I, some of the best memories he and I share are.
I'm not, look, dude. I'm not dissing you and your son. I'm saying you're being an idiot about this lightsaber.
Okay, Okay, but look at that. Come on, look at that,
Danny.
That's just bad. That's just bad. That looks like a tube of light. That doesn't look like a laser sword. You
are an idiot.
Yeah, fair enough.
You are an absolute idiot if you think, oh, that looks so fake compared to the stuff that they've had in other movies.
I don't know, man. I'm telling you, I get a lot of flack for this. The Revenge of the Sith lightsaber duel is epic, and those lightsabers are perfect. They look perfect. They don't look like this. Are you having a stroke? Did I break you?
No, I'm looking at pictures of lightsabers in different Star Wars movies, and you know what? They're just as thick as this one.
Planet X calls them flesh lightsabers. That's funny.
I mean, let's see. What is this one?
Hey, we are, while you're doing whatever you're doing, we are over the halfway point. I would be remiss in my duties if I didn't.
All right, look.
Well,
That
hold
blade, granted, I know that picture is smaller, but that blade is just as thick.
No, it's not. That's thinner. Oh my God. It's
No,
totally
you know what's thinner? You know what's thinner is the hilt, not the blade.
The blade is thinner. Are you out of your mind? Look, like move this window to the left a little bit, and then yeah, look, like it's way thinner than this red one.
It is not.
Okay, all right. What do you guys think in the chat? Okay, let us know in the chat because
Let's see.
it's way thinner.
I'm trying to get it so that we can.
Yeah, and look at the aura around it. There's no aura around that red one.
That's because, and actually there is. It's just more subtle. If you look carefully at the red one, you can see the aura around it. Now, if you look at so right here you have a good 1-to-1 comparison here. And the blade on Mace Windows no, it is not.
I'm sorry, man. That all of these in the Acolyte are fat. I've been saying it all season. It's my
I know you've been saying it all season, and you've been wrong all season.
Okay. Look, it's a stupid thing to get mad about. I don't care because I actually like the show, but
I know, but you're getting all worked up. But you see, like if you look at Mace's emitter, the emitter on Mace is tapered inward, so it gives the illusion that it's smaller.
Okay.
Where hers, the one she's holding, the emitter is basically
that's
just
actually
a cylinder. Yeah, I know, but it's just a cylinder.
Yeah.
And so it's a much more simple emitter. Yes, to bring. Yes, I know. Thank you. Anyway.
I actually really dig this guy. I'm really liking this guy as a
that's one of my problems is that you're agreeing with him.
It's not so much I'm agreeing with him.
You said you were.
I'm sympathizing. I understand his point of view. I'm like, I want his backstory, and that's what's going to piss me off. I'm not going to get it,
dude.
No, I like this dude. My mind is made up. I like the dude. He's a compelling character. I want to know his backstory, and I just don't think we're going to get it. With 2 episodes left. Right.
So then we have our LGBTQ Jedis meeting up.
This poor bastard's gonna get killed. Like he's just he might as well be wearing a red shirt.
Well, he is wearing a Padawan's ponytail there, so he's probably gonna die. But back on the ship, May and
this dude is a really good actor. The guy that plays Saul.
Yeah, Dan, you got to stop saying the same thing over and over. You really do. I understand. Yes, he's a great actor. And Planet X, thank you so much for the $2 super chat.
Super chat.
So we need Sam Jackson for a Mace Windu show ASAP. As cool as that would be, Sam Jackson is older now, and so because think about it, he did Mace Windu 25 years ago.
Yeah, I know black don't crack, but arthritis is real. So
yeah, but anyway, stupid borderline racist comments aside.
Gee, F you, man. Wow, that was not racist.
I said borderline. I didn't say it was racist. But unfortunately, if you were
lucky for you, my girlfriend's not here to back me.
Will you just shut up for a minute? Right. If you wanted to do a Mace Windu show, you would have to recast Mace and probably do because it would have to be a prequel to the prequels, because Mace dies in the prequels.
Does he die though? I think there's a compelling story that could be told where he didn't die. He just gets his hand cut off, and he falls out the window, but he uses the Force to not die.
I think that there's a story you could tell there. I don't think it's a compelling story, because so Mace Windu, the most powerful Jedi of all time, goes flying out a window, miraculously survives, and then does nothing to stop the Empire.
He does like a Yoda thing or like a Luke thing. He goes in self-exile, and maybe have a little side story where he's, I don't know, fighting indigenous creatures at whatever planet he goes to. I don't know. There could be something there, but I do agree that Samuel L. Jackson's too old for that.
Yeah. And Darth Maul, we do not say Grey Jedi in this channel. Those words are forbidden.
What is it with you? You really don't.
Because it's an absolute abomination to the idea of Star Wars.
Did you never play the video games, man?
I don't care if it's in the video games. You're missing the freaking point. You think that, oh, yeah, it's cool, so you can just be, it's cool to be evil. No.
I'm not saying
Anyway,
it's cool to be
so
evil. Super chat.
That's the one we just read. There was a delay.
A little bit of a delay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that the idea of the Grey Jedi is to make it so that the Jedi don't have to be good all the time. Well, that's stupid. If you're not good, then you're not a Jedi. At least in the original Star Wars. Later on, of course, now it's like it's just semantics, according to this guy, and Danny seems to agree with him.
Well, Ariel, I do think she... Okay, hold up, let me put it up. I think he knew all along. I think he knew that this was May the whole time.
Yeah, we talked about that before you got here, Ariel.
Yeah.
I'm actually half convinced at this point that Saul is the bad guy behind it all.
Nah, I disagree with that. Yeah, no.
And Stan, May's plan was to kill Saul. Remember, her whole thing was to kill the 4 Jedi, and Saul's the only one left.
Saul is the only one left. And I did you find it? He points out, as you refer to him as Darth Methhead, like Osha asks about Saul before May, and he points that out.
No, Osha mentions Saul before May. She said, "Did you kill Saul?" And he says, "No." "Did you kill May?" "No." Funny that you asked about him first.
Exactly. What do you think
He's just basically, he's trying to make her feel uneasy about herself so that he can swoop in and be her new trainer. It's just psychological warfare, man. That's all he's doing. He's trying to mess with her head. And so...
Well, why do you think the character asked about Saul first and not her sister? That's what I'm asking you.
He didn't ask about Saul. She asked him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why do you think she asked about
Because she had
Saul?
a closer and longer relationship with Saul than her own sister. Think about how young she was when she joined the Jedi.
Okay.
So she knew Saul longer than she knew her own sister.
Okay.
Anyway, so she tries to get on the comms to ask for help, and that is when he stuns her. Again, supporting my he's actually evil thought, because he purposely stopped her from communicating with Darth Lesbian.
And then he does cut off the communication system right afterwards.
Right. He shuts off the transponder and they jump away.
Yeah.
So whatever he's doing, it ain't Jedi.
All right.
So that's why I'm thinking there's something going on here. And that's why, to me, it makes sense that he is the one who trained Darth Methhead. And Darth Methhead decided there should only be 2 Sith. And so he found a protege in May and sent her to kill all the other Sith so that there would only be 2. So that he would have the power of 2.
Interesting. Well, while you guys ponder that, take a gander at this.
I wonder if there's any good movies out this weekend.
Would you like me to recommend you some new movies?
Oh my god, what was that?
Hello, my name is Lit. I am your in-car information system. I can give you recommendations for any type of entertainment. Would you like to hear about the most popular movies in theaters today based on critic scores from Rotten Apples?
Okay, yeah, I would, actually.
The #1 movie in the country this weekend is about a homosexual chipmunk who learns how to play chess. This 4-hour epic displays 10 full chess matches in real time.
No, absolutely not. That sounds literally horrendous. I can't even believe that's real.
Okay, well, the second highest rated movie, with 98% on Rotten Apples, is about a poor starving girl living in the 1920s who finds refuge in a cannibalistic swinger commune, where they all learn the value of love while feasting on the flesh of the innocent.
Who's rating these?
These are ratings from the top film critics in the country.
I am so sick of this. Honestly, I'll just find my own movie.
Criticless, because critics suck.
So England says, the showrunner mentioned she knew Korea. I feel like she's doing a crappy version trying to lead into that storyline. Well, first of all, I don't know what that storyline is because I don't read the EU. And second of all,
I don't know what that is either.
And second of all, and this is a big problem with a lot of these shows, is stop watching interviews with these idiots behind the scenes because they're always saying stupid things that piss people off.
I haven't watched any of them because, I've seen clips where people are roasting, like the dude that got his neck snapped for saying Anakin blew up the Death Star or whatever. That's like literally all I've seen.
No idea what you're talking about.
The guy, Yord,
Okay.
the actor that plays Yord, apparently in some interview, he says that Anakin blew up the Death Star, not Luke.
Okay.
Anyway.
Anyway, so Thomas with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much.
Super chat.
Says, maybe because Green Lady will want to go back to the temple and make a plan on what to do, and Saul doesn't want to waste time. That's possible, but I think that would be really contrived writing because Saul could simply have said that to her on the comms. He could have still turned off the transponder and said, I have to go after him. This is my responsibility kind of thing. And she'd be like, no, we have to go back and make a plan. He goes, no, we don't have time. And he jumps away.
Didn't they kind of already do that with those two earlier?
Well, they did that at the temple already, at the Jedi temple, where she didn't want him to go.
In Planet X, I agree, but she is sleeping with the showrunner, so there's that.
Well, I think she's married to the showrunner.
Okay, both.
But
yeah.
But Majel Barrett couldn't act either, so
Yeah.
there's that. But I think that he's up to something here, because stunning her as she's trying to communicate tells me he doesn't want to communicate, especially considering he then immediately shuts down the comm systems. So, and then we see they land on the planet. So Darth Lesbian and
this was really cold on her part. She just walks over all those dead bodies,
No, but you know what? That's what a Jedi should do. A Jedi should not get emotional about it.
Okay. All right.
That's the point. The Jedi are supposed to be like Vulcans. They're not supposed to freak out just because something bad happened. And while it's true, that was a brutal shot right there.
Yeah.
It's true that it's.
Why is there such a delay?
I don't know, but there is, so get over it. Anyway, it's true that she doesn't react, and she's very stoic, but at the same time, that is exactly what she should be. Because if she lets her emotions take over, well, that's the path to the dark side, blah, blah, blah. So you shouldn't be letting your emotions run away with you. Meanwhile, Darth LGBT here is shocked and appalled by finding all the dead bodies.
Yeah, no, he even says something about we gotta bury them or something.
No, she says that. She says to prepare them for burial.
Oh, she's the one that said it? Okay.
Yes. So it's not like she has no sympathy for what happened, but she's not going to let her emotions get away from her. To me, she's acting very Jedi. I mean, yes, her acting is very stiff as an actress, but her character is behaving more like a Jedi than Saul.
Yeah.
And Ariel, yeah, I know they burned the bodies in, Return of the Jedi, but hey, whatever.
Well, they also do it in Phantom Menace. They
Yeah.
burn Qui-Gon Jinn.
So here we get her flaccid lightsaber right there. So, what did you think of this?
I mean, whatever. I mean, I supposedly this is right out of the EU, so I guess it's.
Well, I don't
cool,
care if
whatever.
it's in the EU. I'm asking what you think of it here.
I mean, I don't know. I'm more of a traditionalist. I'm not a fan of the whip, but whatever, you know.
I'm not a fan of the fact that it's purple.
That too, you know, because kind of doesn't make maces so special anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder how Samuel L. Jackson felt about that.
Right.
Now that he's not the only one to have purple.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm wondering, like, if it was it fat and flaccid? Yes, indeed, Thomas. It was too fat and flaccid. Although, anyway, it's a whiskey saber. I'm wondering though, because at the end and at the beginning, it extends out like a regular lightsaber blade, and then turns all flaccidy and turns into a whip. So does that mean that any Jedi can do that? She's just the first one we've seen do it, or is that just like her unique thing?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Anyway, so then we have her in chains, and she's like, "Let me out," and he's like, "Yeah, but first, let me tell you the big secret." But we'll wait till next episode.
And then we cut to this shit.
And we cut to him describing, and he does mention the metal that they use, and that is something that's in the EU apparently, a metal that makes sabers short out. And Mr. Know-It-All talked about that last week.
Yeah.
But that's all legit. And in fact, and you see that there's veins of that metal in this cave, which is probably why he hangs out here. Although you'd think make an entire suit out of that stuff, then you'd be lightsaber proof.
Right.
But he says also the helmet acts as a sensory deprivation device so that you can just focus on the Force, much like the Padawans used when they were little. And so he tells her to try it on, and so she hesitates and then tries it on,
and then boom,
the end.
Yeah.
But you hear her breathing like in a menacing Darth Vader kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, again, I didn't think that the show is... I don't think it's an abomination. I do think that it... I do and I don't. I don't think it's badly done, but I think the messaging is all wrong. But I've been saying that about all of recent Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think that the idea of trying to make everything shades of gray is an absolute insult to what Star Wars was. It's bad storytelling, and we need, and this is something people really don't grasp. We need heroes for our young people to look up to, and right now, all of our heroes are dicks, and the villains are just misunderstood. And then we wonder, why is society going down the crapper? But you seem to like that.
I frame it a lot differently than you, but I think this is it's fascinating, and I want his backstory. I want more of his motivation.
I'm not saying I don't want a story, but I don't want him to be framed as anything but a villain. By the end of the day, if it turns out that he's the one we're supposed to be rooting for against the corrupt Jedi, then congratulations, your journey to the dark side is complete.
I don't think that's where they're going to go with it, but I do think they're going to try to give I hear a weird echo. I do think they're going to try to give like a justification, if you will, of why he broke
Right.
bad.
But he
You know.
doesn't need a justification. He's evil.
I don't think it's that cut and dry, man.
Do we need a justification to why the Emperor was bad? I mean, do we need to do a Palpatine series about how he was
this
abused
guy,
as a kid, or some Jedi was a dick to him, and so it's all fair?
This is going to be a hot take, I'm sure, controversial, but this guy's way more interesting than Palpatine. I mean, I'm sorry, but he just is.
Yeah, but you're missing my point. You seem to think that that's a good thing to make our villains so much more in depth and interesting than our heroes, and to have good reasons for their behavior, and that we should understand it, and that they're really sympathetic characters. But what you act like there's nothing wrong with this.
I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just
Sure
saying,
you are. You seem to be getting weirded out by me being upset about it.
No, I just think, look, I find it. This is I like it. It's a new take.
That's my point. How? Look, I don't know what's going on in whatever it is that you call a brain, but you're saying, no, I disagree, or so, no, that's not what I'm doing, and then you immediately say something that proves that's what you're doing.
Jesus, whoa, England, that's dark. I don't know where that's coming from, but okay. Wow.
Well, the problem is that, I mean, yes, he's taken it to the absurd level, but that's what's going on here. That's what we're doing with our storytelling. And we think that feeding this kind of crap to our kids is harmless. Because we've convinced
First
ourselves...
of all, this is
we've
TV 14. This ain't for kids.
Dude, yeah, you're right. Because no one under the age of 14 is going to watch a Star Wars show.
Well...
Considering most of the content, A, it's on Disney, and B, half the content in the Star Wars category is cartoons. So yeah, no kids are going to watch this.
I'm not making that argument, but okay. Fair enough.
And besides, even if you do want to say, well, it's TV 14, that means this is supposedly appropriate for a 14-year-old. I don't think it is, and I don't think it's appropriate for adults. I don't think it's appropriate storytelling. I think that this is glorifying evil.
Really? I don't know.
Absolutely, it is.
No, it's an interesting case. It's an interesting case study on how someone, because we learned in this episode.
Stop trying to just rephrase it. You're saying the same thing. You're just saying it in a nicer way.
We learned in this episode this dude was once a Jedi. And I want the story, why did he fall from grace? I want that story. It's interesting to me. I'm not saying I'm going to agree with it or side with him. I just think that's an interesting story.
You've already said that. You opened up with that.
I'm on board. I like this.
You said you're feeling him. You said that
I am. No,
you said that you agreed with him about the Jedi. That it's all just a game of semantics. You're agreeing with everything he's saying, but then you're just trying to deny it when I say it's glorifying evil. But it is. That's absolutely what it's trying to do. And the fact that you don't see it just means it's working on you.
Welcome to Nerd Fights, everyone. Welcome to Nerd Fights.
Okay, well then, show me how the this is showing any kind of good moral center to this show, because so far the Jedi have been complete dicks, and the Sith are kind-hearted, and he took in poor Osha, who was just left there for dead. He's such a sweet guy. And now he's nice enough to tell her the truth about everything so that he can then eventually train her to be one.
Hey, man, that's more than the Jedi did. They've been lying to her whole life.
How do you know they've been lying to her?
I was just...
Of course, that's what he'll say. Yeah. But how do you know I mean, because the problem is that, look, I know that ever since they set up the whole thing about the Jedi taking little kids, that's been problematic from, for a long time. But overall, the Jedi were always seen as symbols of good. But not anymore. Now, the Jedi is this corrupt, dogmatic religious organization that abducts children and brainwashes them. While the Sith are just looking for freedom, man. They just want to be able to, they just want to be able to use their power without the dogmatic rules that the Jedi put down.
And what's wrong with that? Why is that bad? What's wrong with that? I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to.
No, but the problem is that that's exactly how you sounded at the beginning of this live stream.
Well, because I find the story compelling and fascinating, and this is not something we've seen before.
I'm not saying the story's not interesting, but the problem is that they're setting this up because it's one thing if you try to show the and thank you Obi-Wan says only the Sith deal with absolutes. What if we say the Sith are absolutely evil and we aren't dealing with absolutes? Son of a bitch. Yeah. Well, the funny thing is only the Sith deal with absolutes is an absolutist statement.
Yeah.
Which is just, so it's self-contradictory.
Yeah. And we've actually had that conversation before.
Yeah.
So,
And by the way, Wheaton, I do think that this started with the prequels. That's where I think that Star Wars started to go wrong. And it's been going further and further down that rabbit hole ever since. And unfortunately, that's why the original trilogy is such great classic stuff. The prequels are, they're all right. And the sequels are crap. Because we're just going further and further into this toilet of bad is good and good is bad. And they're not the only ones doing it, don't get me wrong. But Star Wars is a franchise that was built on the idea of the light versus the dark, the good versus the evil. Black hats, white hats. Very simple, easy to understand morality that both kids and adults can enjoy. Mm-hmm. And instead, we've turned it into, the Jedi are actually this corrupt, evil organization that abducts children, while the Sith are really freedom fighters. That's a big problem. And of course, you do know that when Luke kissed Leia in the first film, and actually, in the first film, George Lucas didn't, write out in advance that they were brother and sister. But even if he did, it's not like they were making out. She kissed him on the cheek and said, "For luck."
Yeah. Yeah, they don't kiss on the lips until Empire, right?
Right, and even that's very brief, and she just does that to piss off Han.
Yeah.
And neither of them had any idea that they were related.
Right.
So, but there's, but that's not what the point of the original movies was. It's like, if you want to say that the central theme of the original movies was a love triangle with Luke, Leia, and Han, then you might have a point. But no, there was no love triangle. Luke was never going to get Leia.
Yeah. So, because I I was ill yesterday and we didn't get together, are we going to do The Boys tomorrow since we didn't watch something else?
Well, I guess we have no choice.
Okay. All right.
And anyway, so... Yeah. So I don't understand. You just think that good is bad and bad is good, and you're
Not
okay.
at all.